This is a big bore Italian adventure bike for only 8 grand, and it's absolutely dripping with kit. So what's the catch? Well, for one thing, it's kind of not really Italian. Okay. Ooh, that felt horrible. So this is the Morbidelli T200V, and yeah, about the whole Italian thing. So the Morbidelli is a brand that goes back decades. They were sort of quite big in racing, won various 125 and 250cc championships, and then had this mad idea in the 90s to make an 850-ish cc V8 motorbike. Engineered this incredible engine and stuck it in one of the ugliest bikes ever made. So that didn't really pay off, and then that was kind of the end of the company, really. Fast forward to today, and the car's going past. Fast forward to today, and QJ Motor has acquired the rights to this brand. You might know also that is a company that has form here in scooping up beleaguered Italian brands that have died off, including Benelli. They've had Benelli since 2005. And so yeah, this is the latest one. This is Morbidelli. Nothing to do with the MotoGP rider. Before you ask, yeah, there's no family connection there. It's just a coincidence. So yeah, the bike, the name T1000V, I mean, it's not great, is it? Imagine going to the effort of going and getting the rights, which I think was a bit touch and go at one point, which is why the cruiser equivalent of this was for a bit called MBP, which I think stands for Moto Bologna Passion. So yeah, it seems a bit weird to go to all the effort of doing that and then coming up with that kind of name, which as you might later see in the riding footage, I kind of forgot what it was. So not memorable and a bit clunky. Any name that makes you say "and" is probably not the best. So about the whole Italian thing, so this, obviously it's an Italian brand name. There is, I think, some sort of presence in Bologna. I don't know if that's, how big it is, how many people work there, what exactly goes on there, but there is, yeah, some sort of design office or development office, bit of both in Bologna. And then the bikes are made in China using Chinese bits and pieces. So I guess it's like going to Beijing and getting a pizza from a really authentic Neapolitan pizzeria or something. That's the best analogy I've got. I was going to talk about Tesco pasta, but actually that's made in Italy, so that doesn't work either. It's a bit like what MG are doing. So obviously MG, the brand today, has nothing to do with the MG of before. But yeah, it's Chinese owned, the cars are built in China, but then there is a design office in the UK, there is some limited development that goes on here, and obviously everyone knows the brand. So really it's kind of genius, and we've seen it as well, not just with Benelli, but also with Moto Morini. And I'm sure there are other dead Italian brands that will soon be scooped up by Chinese brands and will make their way here soon. Because that's the thing, a lot of these Chinese brands, the names don't necessarily translate so well in the UK, so to get what sounds like a kind of well-known exotic sort of thing and slap it on your bikes, yeah, genius. But yeah, who cares if it's not strictly speaking Italian, because it has a cool brand name and it's, like I said, absolutely loaded with kit for not a lot of money. About that 8 grand, you do have to add 200 quid for the on-the-road costs, so yeah, under 8 grand sounds a bit clickier, doesn't it? So for your 8,200 quid, or I think it's 8,199, you get heated grips, you get a heated seat, you get a 1000-ish cc V-twin, that's apparently a new engine, you get switchable ABS, you get adjustable suspension front and rear, you even get cruise control. And oh yeah, the bash bars, those are included, the skid plate is included, and so is the centre stand. So yeah, it's a really well kitted motorbike for not much money at all. You're probably looking at this thinking, well, this Italian adventure bike, is it like a half price Ducati Multistrada? Not really. I'd probably liken it more to something like an Africa Twin Adventure Sports, or perhaps a Suzuki V-Strom 1050. Oh, other thing as well, good tyres. These are Pirelli Scorpion Rally STRs, so yeah, good tyres. Seems, not the most premium looking thing in the world, but decently built. So that's a quick overview of the bike. Now let's go and ride it. So here we go, the Morbidelli T200V. I forgot the name of it already. Yeah, what a hilarious intake noise that is. It was the first time I went at full throttle with it. I was like, oh, where did that come from? Have a go. Oh, that is a horrible soft limiter on there. The thing is, you don't actually know where it is. If you can see, sorry about that phone. The phone mount is not included, that's something else. But yeah, you can see you just got this weird, yeah, kind of graduated portion. Yeah, so you don't actually know where the red line is, really. I do love that noise. That is so amusing. The rest of the time it sounds, yeah, quite, apologetic, shall we say, and then suddenly almost reminds me a bit of, I know I said this isn't, you know, this isn't a multi-strada alternative by any stretch of the imagination. It's more of like a kind of V-Strum-y alternative, I guess. V-Strum 1050. But yeah, that honk does remind me. Oh, that felt horrible. Okay, yeah, third. Let's go for third. Yeah, not something you want to rev out. But yeah, so modestly powerful. It's only about 80 brake. What are we doing? Yeah. Not entirely sure. Okay, alright. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that was full twist through to third gear, and you're not really going that fast. Yeah, power is pretty modest. It's only about 80 brake. You know, some engines that are really a few hundred cc smaller can manage. More about the torque this, so 60-ish Newton meters, no, 60 pound-foot I think, so it's pretty burly, and you can kind of feel that in the mid-range. But at the same time, this is a, watch that gravel there. Yeah, at the same time, this is a bike that weighs, I think, it's about 260 kilos. I would hope that's wet and not dry, because otherwise it would be even more. Rather like another of these Chinese bikes that I rode recently, throttle is where it needs work. It's a little bit jerky in this sport mode. I've also noticed it's almost a bit like a rev hang. So if I go, yeah, it just feels like the throttle closes quite slowly. It's quite a common thing in the car world. It's all to do with efficiency. If you close the throttle slower, it's more efficient for reasons. I can't actually remember what the official explanation is, but yeah, it kind of feels a bit like that. Potentially a bit better in this sport mode, but then maybe, you know, that's maybe it's a psychological thing. I'm not going to say for 1 minute that it feels light, but at the same time, were I to guess, I don't think I'd guess quite as much as 260 kilos. I'm just a little bit wary of it, because yeah, on the tight stuff it can feel like a bit of a unit. It's not bad though. We'll turn, and these are, you know, proper tyres on these. It's Pirelli, is it Scorpion Rally? So what are they? I think they're as much as a 50/50. I can't actually remember, but they're, you know, they are pretty chunky. They're not just like a token effort. So you could go through a little bit of slop, and it's not going to be too bad. That's, I think, the main thing that's a limitation with a lot of these kind of dual-purpose tyres. You know, you can go on like dusty stuff, and it will probably be fine. Yeah, a bit of slop, that's where you're going to have some issues. You can have the back end going a bit wild. I'll tell you what is annoying actually, so I'm going to change it back to yeah, I'm going to change it back to standard mode. There is an off-road mode as well. I have done off camera some like token, you know, gravelly track riding stuff, nothing much. Felt alright. You've got a nice yeah, fairly big rise on this stem. Bars quite sweet back quite a long way actually, but yeah, in terms of sort of, you know, the body position, everything else, it felt fine. Felt, you know, gave me plenty of confidence. Mode changing, right, so I've had to stop, put it in neutral, and now it's one press of that, and when I've got to go use the cruise control button, oh, now I'm back in standard. Oh no, now, no, okay, yeah, I was in sport, now I'm back in standard, and I think if I start going again, that should now just disappear. Yeah, there you go, straight away. This is a 7-inch TFT, and I think I said when riding, well, you'll see me say when I'm riding another bike, another Chinese bike from the same sort of group, and distributed by the same people. Yeah, it's quite impressive to see when you've got like premium bikes that still only have little 5-inch TFTs. You've got a nice 7-inch colour TFT here. Nothing particularly snazzy about the you know, the graphics or the colour schemes, but, and yeah, that is annoying, the kind of lack of proper red line. But yeah, it's impressive to see such a big, bright display on a bike that only costs £8 grand. Well, a bit more than £8 grand once you put in the on the road prices, but yeah. I do like that noise in the mid-range. Yeah, still, oh, hang on, I'm still in sport mode. Why am I still in sport mode? And this is the thing, I now can't change it because I'm moving, so I've got to find something to turn around, to pull in. Yeah, wind protection is okay. I mean, you can see just a little sport, as with all of these adventure bike screens, they tend to be not great for my height, but you know, if you just have a little spoiler on the top, it won't be too bad. It is adjustable, you can see, I think you've got a reasonable range of adjustment in there. I think you'd probably struggle to do that on the move. You probably want to stop and do that because you've got two different bits. Yeah, that would be possibly not the safest. Right, let's try and do this mode again. Quite fun to flip it as well. No quick shifter available as far as I know, which is not hugely surprising. Right, okay, let's try again. So, mode. I want standard. No. So now I think I'll go set. Yeah, that should be fine then. Has that done it? So now if I set off, hopefully I should be in... Right, now I'm in standard. I don't know what I've done. Oh, it's probably my fault. But like I say, if you do make a mistake, you know, you're going to have to then stop, which is a bit annoying. Tell you what, actually, since I've just pulled over to FAF, I'm going to turn this back on so you can see the little startup sequence. Screen's a bit dusty. It's quite nice actually, look, there you go. Morbidelli logo coming up there. Hello dog. Let's see how well it chugs. Oh, chugging along quite nicely. It doesn't feel too rattly actually for a V-twin. I won't do that though because it's not shouldn't really chug an engine unduly. Just kind of feels like a big, friendly, cruisy, heavy, slightly heavy. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't take itself seriously. I think it just kind of wants to plod along. Yeah, if you're after a bit of a touring machine, which you know may or may not do a little bit of light gravelly stuff somewhere. Speaking of gravelly stuff, there's always gravel on this corner, so I'm always a little bit wary. All right, let's try it from third at 30. You don't really want to change much later than that because that's where you go into that horrible soft limitery thing. Yeah, screen not too bad at all actually. And so my height does not help. If you're more like, I don't know, 5'8 to 5'10, it might actually be okay. Yeah, you can't really chuck it in with too much enthusiasm. Yeah, if you want to be comfy, I think comfort, yeah. Nice seat, soft suspension, adjustable suspension as well. Yes, you've got adjustable front fork, adjustable monoshock. Yeah, the spec for the price really is very impressive. I think what's most impressive about it is that you can load it up with a full luggage kit for only an extra 500 quid. So including on the road costs, you're looking at 8,700. Yeah, if you want an Africa Twin, say, with all the same stuff and the luggage, it's going to be probably getting on for double. Obviously, Africa Twin's a bit more off-roady than this, although mind you can get the 19-inch wheel version. So yeah, Africa Twin or like a Suzuki V-Strom 1050. Because let's be honest, neither of those bikes are particularly exciting. Yeah, Africa Twin I've just never really got on with. I'm more of a I remember I was running a Transalp as a long-term test bike for visor down, and yeah, I remember getting an Africa Twin at the same time, and it just kind of felt a bit heavy and a bit ponderous. I found the engine a bit kind of workmanlike, whereas you know the Transalp was kind of revvy and felt light and fun. This feels a bit more like the Africa Twin. Yeah, if you do that, just come on and come off. Yeah, it's generally just a bit of lag between what you're doing at your wrist and what's actually happening at the other end on the throttle body. But you get used to it pretty quickly. I do think the colour palette for this is pretty boring. You've got a choice of black or white. Yeah, I'm constantly moaning about that. I think it's part of the hangover from the fact that you know, I'm a car journalist by trade, so in the car world, you always have stacks of choice. In bike world, it's like two colours, and often they're both really boring. That's definitely the case with this. I think I'd want, you know, just a bit more colour in there. In terms of finishing, yeah, everything is fine. I mean, you've got this plastic bit which is a bit bleh. The styling itself is fine. I think there's kind of bits of various bikes you can see in there. I don't think it has like much of, I guess, its own identity. But you know, what adventure bike looks, you know, attractive other than maybe a Ducati Desert X in the old Cagiva elephant colours? Give it a good brake. Yeah, it'll work all right. Bit of dive, as you'd probably expect for something that's quite heavy. A lot of weight transfer to go on. Yeah, I like it. It's just like a good, honest bike. It's not going to set your hair on fire, but it's got a bit of something about it with that silly airbox noise, which just appears to come from nowhere. Because I say, when we're kind of like, you know, chuntering along like this, it doesn't feel like anything special at all. And that's when I got on it, I was like, you know, a bit dull. As soon as you open it up, it's then going, bruh. Yeah, it's not like a honk, it's more like a blah. Like Kimi Räikkönen, blah. Cruise control, I think I need to get on a dual carriageway first, and then see how well that works. But yeah, heated grips, let's fit them on. Heated seat as well. You keep forgetting about all the stuff this has on it. Of course, obviously you can get an old Ducati Multistrada V2 or a 950 like mine. You don't need a seat heater, because you know it gets hot enough on its own to cook your ass, boil your balls a bit. Yeah, information. Here we go. Let's have a flick through. Oh yeah, tyre pressure monitoring as well. That isn't since I zeroed it. I think that's over the course of 35 mpg though. That's not brilliant. The range figure does seem to jump around quite a lot. I mean, you know, it can happen with bikes. It's pretty standard. You've got an instant mpg readout there. So you can see either side you've got your power points. I think one is like the cigarette lighter style thing where you can put all manner of stuff on. You've got a USB-C and a USB-A, I think you call it there. And as I say, how blocky the tyres are, they don't feel too vague. Yeah, when I did the stuff, you know, off camera with the gravelly stuff, didn't feel too top heavy. If you're getting some gnarlier stuff, I don't know, you know, it may well do. I don't quite get the model names. To have a different model name for one that's the same but wire wheels, I find that quite odd. So I think, is it the T200V and the T200VX? VX has the wire wheels. This is the cast wheels, so it's the T100V. Yeah, rubbish names. Come up with some better names, Morbidelli. Oh yeah, seat heaters. Oh, yeah, heated grips coming through quite nicely. Let's turn them up a bit. Let's go for, what have we got? 3 modes. Let's go for 3, and I'm going to put the seat heater on. Yeah, 3 for that as well. Let's go for 3. Let's see how. Oh, that's pretty instant. That is. That's like, yeah, from 0 to, I feel like I wet myself in only about, what, 3 or 4 seconds. Pretty quick. Probably quicker than the bike gets to 60. Yeah, I don't think this is a bike you're going to kind of fall in love with. I think you'll probably buy it one year because you're going to do like a big tour or two, and you want something to ease you down to, I don't know, like the Alps or something in comfort. It's going to be reasonably fun on the way when you get there, but you know, it's not going to set your hair on fire. But yeah, it's going to get you there in comfort. You've got your cruise control, fairly soft suspension, all your equipment, and you know, if you've gone at a time of the year where it gets a bit chilly up on the San Bernardino Pass, you can put all your heatery bits on. Yeah, fast sweeping stuff where you can't feel the weight quite as much, it does perfectly alright for itself. You just kind of need to make your inputs a little bit firmer than they might otherwise be. I guess the real competition for this bike is going to be used stuff. Do you get, yeah, like a used V-Strom or a used Africa Twin, maybe even like a used Multistrada? I know they said this is not really that sort of thing. Yeah, that's the worry, you're going to come out of the corner in third. There you go, try those brakes again. Yeah, fine. Right, okay, let's try this now. So, right, so there's your trip. So I want to just try and reset that. Right, come on, surely holding down that would be enough to... Right, I'll tell you what I do, I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to see if I can work out how to reset that trip. Oh, I hit that horrible limiter again! Oh, it's so horrible! Oh, yeah, so I think between that and the slightly lazy throttle, those are probably the two worst things about the bike. Well, now you can see at, there we go, 70. Yeah, I mean, the mic is in my helmet, so that's fairly representative of what you're going to hear. Not terrible, like I say, you knock down just like an inch or two and it's alright actually. There's definitely a lot worse over it, so it's definitely doing something. There's some screens on, you know, these sort of bikes that are so rubbish that you're almost better off without them. I think this is actually doing something. Just wants a bit of a screen. Yeah, splattered in flies as well, sorry, I couldn't bother to clean it before we came out. I still have not been able to reset the trip, which is a bit annoying, so I want to work out how, you know, what the fuel economy is like, because that's 35 mpg over like 930 miles, which includes the launch of these bikes, which, you know, they won't have been ridden particularly sympathetically on that. So anyway, don't actually know what sort of MPG you might get on a run. Let's try cruise control then. So one press to there, set, my set. Yeah, there we go. Easy as that. I mean, it seems to work. It's cruise control. I don't know what to tell you. But to get it, yeah, on a bike that's $8 and a bit grand, without having to pay anything extra, very good indeed. I mean, here you go. So I'm on a slight incline. It's doing just over 40 mpg. So I don't think it's going to be horrendous. Let's try going up. What I will say is there's no, I can't see any indication of like the cruise control telling you what you're setting the speed to, so you just kind of have to sort of guess. But whatever, like I say, for the price I'm not going to moan. It's not adaptive because of course it's not going to be for that amount of money. But yeah, there you go, good honest bike. I will say, there's a bit, I got stuck behind a horse box thing earlier, and I wasn't like, oh, I wish I wasn't stuck behind this, I wish I could give it some. It's not that kind of bike. It doesn't, you know, egg you on to ride like a nutter. As I say, if you're looking to munch a lot of miles, you know, you don't mind if it's not the last word in excitement when you get to the other end. You don't want to spend a lot of money, but you still want new. There you go, the Morbidelli, I still can't remember the name of it. So all that's left to say is remember to do all the liking and subscribing stuff. I mean, I know this is a new bike, but generally I've focused on used stuff and basically just the cheaper side of deals and just the cheaper side of motorcycling really, which is why I think this kind of fits into everything quite nicely. So yeah, do all that stuff and yeah, I'll see you next time.